Can I get a roll call, please? Gail, Dawn Loving, and Lisa Rogers. Bart Ryerson and Jim McMaster will not be here this evening. Can I get an approval for additions to the agenda? I'd actually like to put on the agenda in the, I don't know, I suppose it would be in the action items. Never mind, I'm not gonna change it. I'll do it under reports and comments from the board members. So, can I get an approval?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Gail has moved and Dawn has seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Can I get an approval of the consent agenda?
I will move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Dawn has moved and Gail has seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda has been passed. Public participation. I don't have anybody on my list right now, but I'm guessing that we have a couple of folks in here today. So, Rob, you were here first. We will go ahead and...
Well, I just wanted to pass some information out to the board, and those that are not present, perhaps Kathy will forward those on. This is related to the Sanders State Park process, and what I'm passing out is the city council order that lays out the approval of the facility plan and the conditions that are attached to that. So you have that information and you can look it over. I don't know if you've already seen it or not, but since it seems to be timely, if we're going after a parks grant, to do the later improvements. I'll give these extra copies to the board and one for the record to Pat.
Thank you.
And the other thing, a couple things I just want to touch on that. In January of last year, when Counselor, oh, by the way, I want to make it very clear, I'm speaking on behalf of myself as a private citizen. I do not represent the city of Dundee. But when I did represent the city of Dundee, I attended the January meeting with Counselor Adlong, and we talked about a number of issues related to the project. And one of the things that I had recommended to the board, or suggested, is that you negotiate and enter into a developer agreement prior to submitting the application for land use approval. And that didn't happen, but it's not too late after the fact to still enter into some sort of agreement so there's a clear understanding regarding the timing of approval, or timing of the public improvements that are conditioned for approval, as well as not what kind of sharing of costs the city of Dundee would have in that. So that's something that still can be negotiated and work out. You just have to contact the people that represent the city of Dundee to do that.
Okay.
The other thing I am interested in hearing tonight, though, I know I have the understanding, of course, that you submitted a $750,000 grant application to state parks for improvements related to the project. Unfortunately, those proposed initial application were not eligible costs, but the applicants were given opportunity to resubmit. So what I was hoping to hear tonight, what was resubmitted in terms of the major elements, the cost, that type of thing regarding this updated application.
Dawn, do you want to?
I'll turn it over to Casey.
Basically, to get the park open, we need a parking lot. You couldn't apply for the street improvements or anything like that, so we just shifted everyone into the park, the walkway, the water feature.
And the total amount of grant is $750,000.
Yeah.
So if you have a 40% match, that means you're looking at a $1.25 million project then?
It's more than that.
A bit more? You have a 50% match?
It's more than that.
Okay. Would we be able to see the elements of that? What I want to do is keep in touch with the Dundee Parks Advisory Committee and let them know, give them an update on what's going on with that project too.
Sure, I can get it for you. It won't be today or tomorrow.
Oh, no, no, that's okay.
Okay.
Casey, you meet with them, do you not?
Yep.
He meets with them and keeps them up to date. He meets every time they do.
Okay, very good.
We've done that for years.
Are you, is that, do
Unless you have any questions, I'm done with my thing.
you guys have any questions? Any questions for us?
Okay, well, have a good evening then.
Thank you. I was going to, just so that you know, Rob, I was going to wait until the reports and comments from the board to set up a committee, see if there, if you're, but since you're here right now, when we had spoken last, you were looking at, thinking that it would be good to have a Sanders Estate Committee established.
Well, I said that sounds like a great idea.
Right.
Kind of an overview committee, because I imagine this project is going to be phased over a number of years. And it's probably good to have some citizens of Dundee, maybe some officials on both sides to be participating in that as kind of an overview and seeing how this project is phased out.
Okay. Do you want to, typically, like, last time we were here, we have a new golf course committee, and folks show up to say that they will be on the committee. Can you provide us with some, can you collect some names of people that would be interested from Dundee, that would be interested in being on that committee?
What I'll do is I'll contact the new city manager,
Okay.
Steve Dahl, and I'll let him know that there is a request for that, and then have him work directly with you guys. Like I said, I do not
Yeah.
have an official.
Right, no, I understand,
Capacity
but
of the
even as a community member, you know.
Sure,
you-
sure, as a
you
community
still
member, I
can-
could convey that information to him, let him know. And then
Yeah.
typically, usually when you have appointments to committees like that, they try to get the council involved to do that too.
So this.
But I don't know if that makes sense for you.
This is not, I mean, they're official committees, but they're not like, they're not, I don't know how to,
We're not affiliated with, let me help. We're not affiliated, Tom and I and the other two, we're not affiliated with like employees,
Sure.
city,
So-
council people, we're just citizens.
So the makeup
Right.
of the committee would just be citizens then, it
Pretty
wouldn't
much.
involve
Well,
elected officials.
I wasn't thinking that it would be elected officials, but elected officials, if they're interested in being on that committee, are also welcome to do so.
Okay.
Okay, does that, because that's how we have historically had committees that work
Gotcha.
on
Okay.
whichever projects that we're working on.
Okay.
So,
Well, and I'll share that with Councilor Adlon,
Okay.
because she has a long interest in parks and open space and things of this nature, so I'm
Okay.
sure she'd be wanting to be involved in that process too, so, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so-
I'll share that information.
and then if you could get back to us with people that are interested, then we can set up a state committee, and then, you would all meet as a group with representation from this board, and then we would go ahead and work with Casey and the architect and everybody else who's working on
Okay.
Sanders Estate.
And it sounds like since you're not having a July meeting, it's not gonna be till August before.
I believe we are
This
having a
body
July
thing.
meeting, right? We
We're
are
having a July. Normally, what we do with committee formations is we advertise it on our website and do that.
Okay.
And then applications, we receive applications, turn them over to you, and the committee is appointed. Sometimes committees are 7, sometimes they're 9, sometimes we just let as many as want on the committee. So that's a decision you'll make at the time.
So does that sound like a plan? Then we'll go ahead and put it up there. You can let people know to look at the website,
Sure.
and so that people can go ahead
Yeah.
and sign up to be on that committee.
Just so happens, we're also,
Oh,
if I understand correctly, our quarterly newsletter would be going out sometime in July also. So I don't know, we could put some generic information to look at the website and CPRD for
Yeah.
information about formation of a committee
Okay.
to help steer the development of the Sanders State Park.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, it'll be on the, yes, to go look for it on the website, exactly, and then
Okay.
apply for the
Okay.
position, because I think if you're on a committee, you have to do an application process, and,
Sure. Okay.
okay? Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
All righty,
Good night.
good night.
I'm just a spectator.
You're
Lisa.
just, all
Oh,
right.
you are? Okay. Mine's pretty brief.
All right.
So quick update, reporting back, working with Don and the guys over here.
Identify yourself, sir.
Steve Paulson, almost said Stevie. Steve Paulson, resident.
Common spelling?
Come again?
Common spelling?
Common spelling?
It's signed in.
Signed it, yeah, there we go.
You
And-
signed it.
Signed in, and
WONDER.
there you go. So update from our committee, our first initial meeting with Mr. Loving and the group. We decided we're gonna meet the fourth Tuesday of the month. Coincides with the fourth Thursday of the month, which makes it easy, so we established that. We also established, we think, a good number of committee members for the golf course committee would be 7. We have 4 currently, and that's a good idea, Don's, Mr. Loving's request. You like that, mister, don't you? And respect, and
It's rare here, trust me.
so it's good. So it's all good. Had a great meeting talking about just the layout, what we're looking to do long term. Secondly, the feedback is anyone that knows me, outgoing, social, friendly. So I'm somewhat of a fixture at our clubhouse, visiting with people, and I could almost be part of a welcoming committee because I go out of my way to talk to people that are visiting our course, and take a lot of pride in that. Just random people. And
We're gonna install Steve as kind of like a Walmart greeter at the golf course.
the starter, put me on the first hole. Feedback from a month ago, the conditions, Casey, Don, the crew, all hands on deck. It's night and day. I'm sure you've heard this, but I'm hearing this from people that are visiting from out of town now, that I run into on the weekend or I run into after work, stop in there. So unbelievable. I mean, just the focus, the work, the hours. I just want you to know it's getting obviously hasn't gone unnoticed. From you can stand on the first tee box and see, as someone said the other night, Don, you can see the outline of the bunkers, for example. So just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's night and day. And again, that's people that aren't just obsessed with golf, but people that respect God's earth and creation and want to play. And then the last thing is, I know I didn't get this in time to have it on the agenda.
So let me interrupt you before you get on to your next thing. I just want to, as far as the committee structure, we're going to stick to 7 people, it'll be 7 people plus me, so 7 citizens as the main committee. But we do anticipate several subcommittees that
Okay,
will involve more people.
okay,
So,
okay.
Do you have a name for the committee?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a name for the committee?
Dawn's Golf Committee, I believe is the name of
The
it.
golf course committee.
Golf course.
I like to call it the golf course improvement committee, but the golf course committee is good.
And does Kat have the names of the people on that committee so far?
I do not,
Okay.
Oh, you were here last time, huh?
Hmm.
Right.
Let's do that.
but I haven't seen the minutes come back from that meeting, so they may have been recorded in that.
Would you like the names now?
If you want to email me
Okay.
tomorrow, that would be great. And then
Okay.
I'll have all their spellings and everything.
Lastly, Kat, thank you for being so responsive when I have something to get out there. The last thing is I'm just going to read the note that I sent late yesterday. This is something again, for the people, the employees in particular, understand from the raise of $4 an hour I've heard coming up the first of next month or July. Unbelievable. And I'm just going to read you what I wrote. I apologize for the late notice. If possible, I'd like an opportunity to briefly speak regarding the need and desire to leave an electronic tip for the service employees working at the golf course, either at the counter or on a beverage cart. This shouldn't be an issue as it isn't anywhere I've been. When I close out my check, a tip is an option everywhere but here. The employees work hard and have earned this opportunity for additional income, that being people serving beverages and food over the counter at the clubhouse or people working the beverage cart out in the field. That just comes with the territory. And full disclosure, I didn't have time to eat lunch today at work, so I stopped at Burgerville on the way here. And she goes, "Would you like to leave a tip?" Like you gotta select if you do or not at a fast food, just saying that's the way it is now. I've been told that the reason for not being allowed to leave a tip electronically via a credit card is due to an agreement with Golf Now. This shouldn't be an issue as almost all golf courses also use Golf Now as a service, and leaving a tip electronically is available at those facilities. Golf Now is a booking service. I had no idea until Tuesday from Kellen that it also does the financing, accounting, and I can go to Langdon Farms or I can book any Salem Golf Club, you name it, Golf Now, and I can go and pay at the clubhouse and have a meal and leave a tip. Just standard operating. Is Chehalem Glen the only golf course using golf now that is unable to leave a tip electronically? We should be able to figure this out. This will help retain our employees as well. So Kellen sent me a text and he said, hey Steve, give me a couple weeks. His words were, give me a couple weeks to work with the Golf Now management to see if I can get it figured out. And I'm number one about the people and those people that work hard, that deserve a tip for what they do. And also not putting everything on Kellen or not putting everything on Don or we're here to help. So I just know that if nothing gets said, and it's Steve, the closing out the till was a nightmare and trying to balance this and I know for a fact it can be fixed. I know it can, because everywhere else I've gone to, it's not a problem. So that's something, if I need to help, part of the improvement, it will help retain employees, and as opposed to someone working out there. And golfers, they want a tip. They just do. As someone goes, what they'll say is, these guys and gals that are golfing, they'll say, oh, can I Venmo you? Well, the people running the beverage carts, they're like, that's tacky. Well, yeah, I have a Venmo, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do it. It's not illegal. It's perfectly legal. But it's just, here's the card, here's the machine, 15% or custom amount. That's all. And we're coming into we're in the peak season. You see the weather, thank God. And this will be busier. It'll be busier than ever. So that's all. I just want to be a part of helping counting and the workers to be able to earn a tip for working there and serving.
Or you get people that are technologically challenged like me, that don't know what Venmo is, and don't have an account, and so.
Bring money.
He's heard that, yeah, right?
Well,
That's
I don't
right.
carry cash either.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Not a lot of people carry cash.
Yes, Don.
So we talked about this Tuesday at the golf meeting, and I appreciate Mr. Paulson's enthusiasm about this. Kellen is online. He's listening right now. He's
Good.
He is, he said he would look into it. It's, and so, again, appreciate you bringing it up and your enthusiasm. Heidi's raising her hand, so she wants to speak in a moment. I just want to say, Kellen manages the golf course. We don't micromanage that. So if he says he's going to work on it, then we're going to give him all opportunity to do that first.
Mhm.
Yep, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Exactly why I said that.
But there's Heidi's shining face.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
There's Heidi's muted shining face.
Heidi with the cat.
Yes.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for bringing that up. Part of my function is in the HR and I handle the payroll. So there's a couple pieces to the tips because this has been brought up over 20 years ago and a question that does come up. What a lot of people don't realize is we are a government entity. All of our employees are government servants. So we have a code of ethics. So we cannot receive tips because it can be considered bribes. There are ORS codes under that. Additionally, any tips for businesses that are received must be reported on the employee's income. And let's say you leave a $10 tip on a credit card. The credit card companies do not give the business that full $10. They may get $9.35. I'm just going to throw out a number there. The business has to come up with the difference to pay that employee that 10%. Being a government entity, we have tax dollars. So that would mean tax dollars would be supplementing the difference in there. And again, that is not something we could do as a special districts government. But we have looked into that before.
And
Thank you, Heidi.
we'll continue to look at that and work with our attorneys and see if that's feasible.
Because I appreciate that you're bringing it up, because I agree with you. I mean, we should be able to appreciate the services that we're getting, no matter who's giving it to us. And so I really appreciate the spirit with which you bring that forward, and yet we need to make sure that we don't get ourselves or other people in trouble by trying to do something nice that can end up causing a problem. So
Thank you for the feedback. What's Heidi's role here?
she's the finance director.
Finance.
Yeah.
So just one last thing. So was it just by coincidence last summer that there was, I don't remember how long, but there was a solid 2 to 4 week period where I was able to leave a tip playing golf on that tablet.
Yes, and I can explain that. So I was here over a decade ago when the golf course was first put in. And that was something that came up. We researched it, couldn't do that. I was gone for a decade. I came back. Things were different when I came back. And that was one of the things when I became aware of it, researched it to see if anything had changed, and had to immediately put a stop to that so that we as a government agency and our employees would not get in trouble over that. Because part of my job too, I'm administrative coordinator, I also have to protect the employees and protect the business and protect the taxpayers. So I've got to make sure that triangular protection is there in place for everyone.
Thank you, Heidi.
Lastly, I lied, I had one more. So the cash tips in the chip jar, which is a pitcher, that's cash is totally okay?
What I don't know, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Slide it under the table.
Yes, Don.
You know, the reality is, OGEC probably isn't listening to this. I mean, the girls / young women that have been doing the golf cart, I mean, they've been getting cash tips forever out there. That's just the reality. So, because that's just normal at a golf course. You know, you tip
Right.
generally it's a female that runs the golf, the beer cart as it's referred to. So, I mean, that has been happening.
Beverage cart.
This
Is
whole.
the more
beverage
political
cart,
term,
yes.
correct term.
It's one of those things that if I'm made aware of an employee is receiving a tip, if I'm made aware of it, I then have to legally report it to the IRS and on their paycheck, if I'm made aware of it.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Thank you.
So,
You're welcome.
but, you know, Kellen or whoever can, I mean, there are other public golf courses. I mean, I have golfed at the city of Portland owned courses and given tips to the beverage cart people,
But
so.
those are not government run. They are contracted. They're private.
Okay, I'm sure that I have played at a publicly run course somewhere, being I've played over 200 golf courses in Oregon. I know I've played lots of public courses and I always tip the beverage person. So I'm sure that somewhere out there's a publicly run course that is taking tips, so we can at least check with those courses and see what they're doing.
I think it's worth.
And they may be
checking.
sticking their head in the sand, who knows?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you very
guys.
much. Thank you.
David.
I do want to add one thing that, you know, piggybacking off of what Steve said and, you know, how good the course is looking now. It's, you know, I leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. I see Casey at the course. I come home 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. I see Casey at the course. His truck's there. He's working on something.
But he just
was
parks
there-
the truck there so you think he's there.
Well, Sunday, you know, Father's Day at 5:30, you know, Casey's truck's there. He's got the fairway mower out there, and he's working on it. I mean, you can't. There's no amount of money you could pay for the dedication and passion that he has.
I agree.
So I just want to
Amen.
say that, give you a heads up that, you know, he's, you know, giving his all to make it look the best.
And we know.
Same with the youngsters. I'm walking my 2 over 100-pound dogs in the neighborhood, and I'm telling these kids, some of them, there's like, I saw 6 of them on weed eaters, and I'm just like, I appreciate you. Like, I go out of my way to say thank you. Like, they're just killing it with shorts on, with a weed eater. Anyhow, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because I think that we don't have this park district without our employees. They are
Yeah.
everything to the park
Brian
district.
No,
Stewart,
exactly.
So,
Brian Stewart's
Brian.
crew and
Yeah.
everyone in
Oh,
the district
yeah.
pitched in.
so thank you, and thank you for recognizing it too, because
Yeah.
so
No,
often that
and-
is something that gets
A pat on the
overlooked.
back goes a long way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
Well,
And we do.
Thank you.
And all the, you know, our neighbors and friends and stuff that play the course have all commented, you know, how much better it looks over the last, you know, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it's been. You know, we were out, you know, Tuesday after our subcommittee meeting and sat on the patio and we're looking out and just going, wow, this looks great.
yeah.
You know, it's something that we all can be proud of. So, and that's, you know, all because of Casey, you know.
No, thank you, appreciate that.
So real quick, I forgot to Tuesday to ask, because Julie mentioned it. One of the four of you, I know it's not you, is a Viking. Which one is it? You?
Me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
am I.
Yeah. Now, I looked at your bio
Forest Grove.
after last meeting. Yeah, you're from Forest Grove, and
Yep.
you graduated from Forest Grove High School?
Yep. Born and raised there, so.
He's old, he's older.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Viking was young, he didn't have a beard yet when I was there.
Yeah. Yeah. By the time we got there, it was gray.
Same class, right? You and
Yeah.
Julie?
Yeah.
Let's see some graduation pictures next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
All right, thank you.
See you guys.
All right, see ya.
You left your jug.
Yeah, your water.
I'd lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. Thank you.
You better check it.
Don's been put in the hours too. I've
Yeah.
seen him out at 4 a.m.
Is he tipping though?
Nobody's given Dawn a tip yet.
Yeah,
That was good.
the tip, not to work so hard.
Don't get stuck, Dawn, don't go there,
Yeah.
don't do this.
Casey's my boss.
Alrighty, so no more, is there anybody else on the agenda on the, online that would like to speak? No? Alright. Next, we'll move into our action items. First on the action items is the approval of resolution for the 22-23 budget.
I move we approve the resolution adopting the budget for 22-23.
There was one mistake on resolution number 060322, and really it was just, everything at the bottom was correct. The 733 under fund total, we'll make that correction. The bottom was correct.
The 13,900,000
Yeah,
some odd.
it was 715, and it should have read 735, so it was just a typo.
Okay, okay.
So, but the bottom is the same, everything is the same, it was just one typo.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, I have a motion to approve the resolution as corrected by what,
Amended.
as amended by what Don has said.
Second.
All right, Kayla seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, and that passes. Now we have the approval of the resolution for SDC's annual adjustments. Can I have a motion for that?
So do we approve all of the budget things in one fell swoop there? Apparently we did.
I
Okay.
think we had approved, yeah.
Okay, I thought we had to do them separately.
Do we have to do them separately, Don?
The SDC is separate.
No,
No,
the
no, no,
budget.
no, no, on the budget, there's
No,
those three, because we
no.
did that previously, didn't we, I thought? I thought that had already, I thought we had already.
If you approve all four, and the motion was to approve all four, then,
My motion wasn't to approve all four, it was just to approve the first one.
okay.
So now I will move that we approve the other three
Okay.
as
Okay.
corrected if needed.
All right.
Alrighty, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Alrighty. Now we'll move on to the approval of the resolution for SDC's annual adjustment. Do I have a motion?
I will give my annual correction that mobile home needs an E on the end of it. That would be like a mobile gas home type there or whatever. I've mentioned that several years. But
All right.
Aye. But, so was that a motion to approve with that amendment, with the?
no, that was an editorial
That was an
comment.
editorial.
Madam Chair, I will now move that we approve SDC Resolution 060522
Alright, I
as
have-
presented in the packet.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Look at you, Gail. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Alright. And now we have an intergovernmental agreement for services. And that looks, that was the, that's to, for the
With the
Yamhill County
county.
Corrections to do the.
Right, and to give the board an idea, we need approval tonight, but at the same time, we may cancel it. The primary reason is, I don't think they can fulfill their end. If they're not able to fulfill their end, we're gonna make adjustments.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
One of the things we're finding is they don't have the corrections available to them. We're seeing a lot of times the supervisor himself is doing the work with no backup.
They're not arresting enough people?
They're not, there's not enough, yeah, that's correct.
Inmates that want to do this work.
And they get, community service people, but only on weekends. And they're, yeah.
The agreement was there would be at least 3,
Yeah, and
plus the supervisor.
And all through COVID and everything, we put up with it, but since this one came out and I talked to them about it, we reduced, you know, what we were gonna pay, and they promised us that they would have more, but since we looked at this over the last couple months, nothing's changed.
So what does that do? I mean, because they've been pretty helpful previously, like, does that, I mean,
Well,
you
that
have to
puts a
look
lot
for
of-
more people?
Puts a lot of maintenance on us, but it's a
Right.
$125,000 contract.
Right,
We can get a lot of part-time bodies for that.
okay.
And we have almost all the equipment we need. It's just a matter of a trailer and some, couple mowers, and, you know, Brian's, he's all in. He sees what's going on, and he wants to, I think it would give us better standards in our parks, the ones that they maintain, and it would allow us more control, because right now we have no control.
Okay, so why do you want to pass this then?
Well,
We don't,
well, we should pass it,
okay?
with the understanding that we may cancel it. What you're doing is
It's just
give me
giving you
the
authority.
authorization
Right.
to sign it. I may not sign it. If I don't, I'll bring it back to you and explain why and those. So just to give the flexibility there, I would approve it with, and authorize the superintendent to sign it. And if I don't sign it, I'll have to bring it back to you.
Well, we could stop warning people who drive on the fairways and start arresting them, and then we'd create a bigger pool of people.
Yeah, they'd only want to work at the golf course, not anywhere else.
That might be the last place they want to work if they get arrested there.
Do I have a motion to give authorization to Dawn to enter into an intergovernmental agreement for services with the Yamhill County Corrections?
Go ahead, Gail.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, that has been approved as well. All right, reports and comments from board members. Who would like to go first? Would you like to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Pickleball has 0 updates.
0.
0 updates. They did not meet this month that I'm aware of,
Okay.
or that I was invited to. They did not meet this month.
Okay.
And I think they're kind of figuring things out. They're regrouping. My
Okay.
impression is,
Because they didn't get the funding the last time.
yeah.
Okay.
They are having Gil, just to add to that, so the pickleball advisory group, there's one group and then there's another group. There's some dissension there. And it's been that way from the very beginning. And so the group that is not involved with the advisory group, they are actually having a tournament this weekend at the Jakewith Tennis Courts, which is kind of neat. It's a fundraiser for Young Life, I think. And so I think they're full. That's a full tournament, which is kind of nice. So
Sent this to Julie.
we've gone out, we've painted
Dawn, in
orange
case
lines
it's-
out there, or we're going
we wanna
to.
see.
Dawn, I got your text about the nude pickleball.
He just was sharing that with me.
That is not going to be happening this weekend.
Thank you.
But Anyway, so that's the only update that I have for pickleball, is that they do have a tournament coming up. It's full, and they're gonna have great weather.
Is that gonna cause us issues in the future, though?
I don't think so. That group is pretty, I mean, you know, they all play together, to be honest. They play together, but there's the group that kind of rules the group, and then there's a group that just likes to play. And they seem to be in harmony. It's just, you know, one group doesn't want a line there, and one group wants these lines painted orange, and blah, blah, blah. So
Okay.
we've been monitoring it, and,
Okay.
you know, Hunter is very organized, and sometimes that's a little off-putting to some people, and so it's fine. We're working with both groups, and like I said, I mean, that group is, you know, renting the pickleball courts for their tournament, and, you know, we have a good relationship with both, to be honest.
Okay, all right, awesome. Don?
Just in trying to keep up with things, I would Google alert for pickleball news, and the little graphic came across my thing about, you know, new
I'm so glad you
pickleball.
decided to share that, though, too.
Well, I shared it with the staff to make sure that, you know, we weren't going that direction. So, I mean, probably not everyone here, you know, is aware that, you know, when the golf course first opened, you know, somebody suggested we call it the Dunburg Golf Course. And I said, well, if we're gonna combine names of the cities, we can call it the New D Golf Course. We have bumper stickers that said, I played at the New D Golf Course. You know, we've been, you know, we got a lot of free publicity out of that and stuff. But we ended up with Shea Play, which my wife was the one who did the winning entry, by the way. She was
There
the
you go.
name Shea Play. So, so the golf course committee, as they mentioned, did decide to meet on the fourth Tuesday, and I'm gonna be working with Kat to get the application process out, and that will be a feature of the application to let people know, you're gonna meet on the fourth Tuesday, so if you can't meet on the fourth Tuesday, don't apply, because that's when we're gonna meet. So my only other comment is I apologize to anyone here or watching online that, you know, I try to get here early and eat before the meetings. I do have a mild case of diabetes too. I'm supposed to watch my blood sugar and eat at certain times. But the Blazers were on the clock, and I had to see who they picked. And so I had to wait for that and then scurry over here. So that's why I've been sitting here eating during the meeting.
Thank you for that. I actually ran out the door before they picked it, because my sons were sitting there watching it, but. Alrighty, the cultural center is moving along, it's doing pretty well. I did wanna say, we have two, staff members that are quite, talented. And a couple of weekends ago, went to a, vaudeville thing at the cultural center. And both Kat and
Greg Hansen.
Hansen from the golf course performed, and I was so impressed. You got some real talent here, guys. I mean, Kat did amazing. So did Greg. I just wanted you all to know that they did a wonderful job. It was such a fun evening, and I know you paid for it later on with COVID, but I don't know if that's where you got it from. But you were phenomenal, so I wanted to say that very much, that I appreciated that a lot.
Thank you. It was so nice to have you there.
Yeah, it was good. So, alrighty, now on to, I am not feeling well, so I was just here to make sure we could get through our, the action items, since we didn't have other board members here today. I'd like to go ahead and pass it off to Dawn, if you wouldn't mind finishing up. And
Make
I'm
sure we
going to
don't have
excuse
anything
myself.
else to vote on.
One thing,
Wiser Rail.
yeah, in your background information, there was approval of a contract for engineering
Yeah.
services.
For a
So
railroad
22,000.
crossing.
Do you need that
Yeah,
approved?
I do.
I put it in the background information, and it was a contract for engineering services, and just authorized me to sign that contract. It was on page 24 through 30.
That's the one for 22,000?
Yep.
Right. So if we could get that approved,
Okay.
It's for what? I'm sorry.
engineering
Engineering
services.
for the,
The railroad's, it's very technical crossing. he's done work with the city on that crossing before, and
Which crossing is
It's
it?
the one in
it's
South
the one
River.
on River Street down by
Yeah.
14th,
Yep.
between 11th and 14th.
It's got to do with the trail system we're doing. We met with ODOT out there, we met with City of Newburgh, Yamhill County was there,
PGE,
and PGE, all the
ODOT
players.
rail.
The railroads literally have superpowers
They do.
Yes,
in the law.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't ever want to come up against a railroad if you're lobbying a bill for legislature, trust me. So, anyway, I will move approval of that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Any opposed? All righty. All right, and now I will hand the meeting over to Don.
So,
Don.
I do believe you have to end the meeting unless you have a,
no,
once,
we do not have to end the meeting, we just can't vote on it.
but you have to, don't you have to vote to end the meeting?
No,
No?
Okay.
we do not.
no.
No, just somebody moves and then and then it ends. You don't
Okay.
even have anybody vote on it.
Okay.
All right, thank you all. I apologize. And I hope you have a good rest of the meeting.
Feel better.
Thank you.
Careful, stop going to events where cats at, you'll be fine.
Nothing to do with that. But
I really can't finish. All right, I can finish now. Updates on projects and questions. Casey, what kind of updates on projects do you have?
Which ones?
I don't care.
Of course,
Whichever order you please.
whatever order I please. Well, let's go to the Sanders State Park. Yeah, I revised the grant request. Because I found out from them after several weeks that what we applied for wasn't really what they would grant us money for. And that was the road improvements and things like that, what Rob was talking about. So we'll have to fund some of the, well, City of Dundee has funds that they can help with that. Part of that project is theirs. The pipeline down through the increased pipe size is theirs. And they're gonna have to tear the road up anyway. So I'm sure we can come to some sort of agreement with them to get all that done for less than, I think the cost was $490,000 or more for that road. And that's where I put some of that money, but instead, Don mentioned to me that they're looking for, a park. What goes in a park? There's paths, and the water feature is important to the citizens of Dundee, and the playground, and, we can do the landscaping in-house, basically. But all the requirements from the city are the sidewalks, the road improvements, the curbs, gutters, and we have to have a parking lot in order to use the park, so that's in there too. The aquatic center, so they're waiting on some enclosures before, the pumps are here, the VFDs are here, they're waiting for enclosures. This is like an ongoing, I'm glad we're not paying for it. So it's on them. Everything's working fine. Seems to be holding up and everything. So they're looking at the last part of June, so that's coming up shortly. It's the 23rd today. I would hope I hear something in the next week or so. They do keep me updated, so that's fine. Cultural Center, I've been working with Sean and Jennifer, the architects, and there's a lot of questions about, I don't know why it comes up now, it should have come up phase one or whatever, but structural integrity and the roofing and insulation and things that were taken out for structural requirements. The roof, there's a lot of things coming up. And, we had a pre-app meeting with the city of Newburgh, and parking came up. You know, they're requiring 200 spaces of parking, so we'll have to ask for a variance on that. Technically, what Sean told me was that they don't, you know, the biggest events that they hold down there that hold the most cars is going to be something in the ballroom, not the theater, and that they can use the programming. They don't have to overlap those events, so there's a good reason to ask for variance. That and theater goers usually, you know, we want to encourage the downtown use and offer the theater, but also encourage people to go out for dinner and, you know, before they go to the theater or after or whatever. So I think there's lots of parking downtown that is unused. I know they've got some parking lots noted as per, you know, you can use them with permission from the owners and things like that, so.
This will be the third phase of the cultural center.
Yeah.
In each phase, we
Same thing.
face this issue. City changes people. New people come in, they don't read the past stuff. We have to go back. In the first phase, we talked about the program, exactly what, we agreed to it. City agreed to it. We had originally a 200-car parking lot there. The city asked us, with the citizen input, to downsize. We did that at the request. Ever since then, they've said, you don't have enough parking. I don't understand how they can do that, because the variance was given in phase one, but it's something that will just have to go through. It's over and over and over again. You just have to have patience, which I'm beginning to not have any, but it's important and we have to do it, so, but
I said last month, we tell them we get the variance or we build a 5-story parking structure on the corner there.
Well, and, you know, one of the proposals, you know, we requested the city to give us some ARPA funds to improve the Butler's property across from City Hall. That could have been used for extra parking. Right now, it's a grass park with a sidewalk diagonally through it. You could have put pavers on that whole thing and used it for extra parking or whatever. That's almost a quarter-acre site. There's a lot of potential for that. It also could have been used for events. But the city didn't like that, so.
I don't want to sit here and talk about what the city could be doing, or
Yeah.
we'll be here all night, so.
And then on the Newburgh Dundee bypass trail, I've mentioned the rail crossing, done surveying, archaeological assessment, wetlands delineation. We have a geotechnical report. I think Jennifer mentioned to me that they have the engineering plans at 60% now. So we're on schedule. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, but there's some things that are being left behind. We're currently working with ODOT on the right-of-way for the trail and the bridge and all that. It doesn't seem to be a problem. It's just going to be another intergovernmental agreement. Trails are permitted on rights-of-way. Also had a meeting with Brick, what was his name? Ed Herrera he works for Brick for the school district. And the new elementary school, one of the requirements is that they put a trail in to service the downtown and out to ODOT's property. And which is funny because Doug Rux is a bit aware of both of our project and the Dundee School project, and never mentioned either of them to us. He mentioned it. I'm I think he eventually told the school district at Herrera. And so we had a meeting, Paula Grimace and myself and the brick architects and the landscape architects to go over that with them last week. Because potentially we could hook the trails together and it might be a benefit to both of us. Save us both some money, and we're working for the same cause. So, and ultimately, the end result would be what we want. It's getting into downtown Dundee.
So I was down by Scott Levitt Park the other days, tooling by there. I know that we've, you know, at some point there was discussion about trying to put pickleball courts under the bypass thing.
ODOT doesn't like that idea.
Yeah, yes, and I don't want to put pickleball courts there. We'll put pickleball courts, but right there, right across the street from Scott Levitt Park, that underpass would be the absolute perfect place to put a basketball court, because you can put a full court basketball court there. There's a basketball court at Scott Levitt Park, but it's just one hoop, it's half court. And if ODOT wants to bitch about it, pardon my French, I mean, you know, where interstate, the 105 loop comes off of I-5 into Eugene, you know, for years, clear back when I was in school there. I mean, there's a very nice urban park
We're
there.
talking to ODOT about Row, I can ask that
There's
question.
an urban park there, and there are basketball courts that are under I mean, I can't tell you how many hours I played basketball there the 4 years I was at U of O, because it was covered, you could play anytime, and it's just a good use of, I mean, you got a free cover.
One of the problems, Don, I've talked with ODOT already, I agree with you. ODOT informed me, as you know, they're going to put another roadway in there on the left-hand side of what exists. If they allow us to put a park there, they cannot put that freeway through. They would have to move it, maybe the whole freeway, because the way the laws are written. And in 1970,
Don't want to put a park there, I just want to put one basketball court underneath the ramp.
I realize that, but that's considered a park, and they can't do that at this time.
We can write a variance.
You can wait until the other portion.
They said that they would work with us on that, and we're going to sign an intergovernmental agreement to that effect. But I also understand the law, and the law was written because ODOT, not only the Oregon, but every state, they put freeways right through parks. In '74, I went with the mayor of Jacksonville, Florida. We testified before Congress. The idea was they could no longer do that, and Congress passed it. So I understand and very familiar with the law. As you well know, they wanted with the golf course, the same thing occurred. So to answer your question, yes, we're going to do that eventually, but there's a lot of things. It will not be immediately. It cannot be immediately, because they would be forced to relocate the whole freeway. And that's by law.
I just don't work in Eugene.
Yes, but it was already there.
That was 76 through 80.
Yes. And it will work here, and we're going to work with them, but I'm not looking for something in the next 3 to 5 years. They've got to put that other extension in, and how long will that be? We don't know.
I'm not mentioning it for me. My days of playing basketball on asphalt are long gone. So.
Yeah. But I agree with you, it's ideal.
Sorry, Keith.
Okay. So we're continuing to work on the campground. They're doing a traffic impact study. They've got a preliminary landscape plan. We still gotta find a water source for down there. We've looked at septic, that's doable. I know Shampoo's expanding. They got some money to expand their campground. Paul continues to work with ODOT, and again, we're gonna need a right-of-way and probably some other lanes. Andrew Walker, who works for ODOT as the project manager on the bypass and the interchange and all that, has been more than helpful to us. Provided us with, there's gonna be another light in Newburgh down at Winooski, and, that's gonna help our traffic flow and access into the site. So, it's a process. A lot of moving parts. Still working on the bridge. I think they've submitted the land use, and it's in the county's hands at this point. They've already told us they'll deny it, and we'll just appeal it again and see how that goes. It's a bridge to a piece of property that we would like to access to, and it's ours. And I found some historical notes on requests for it to be moved inside the UGB, and apparently was not, so we'll get there. Heritage Trails Committee, I think Cat wasn't available for the last meeting, and I wasn't available. I was down at the golf course, and they just canceled it, and they will meet again next month,
July 6th.
July 6th.
The Trails Committee, I got a note asking me to meet with them, and I told them I'd be there.
And we're kind of dealing with the golf course as it is, so that's pretty much my report.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Gail? Okay. The Pickleball Advisory Committee report, we hear that they didn't meet, correct?
Yeah, they didn't meet.
Okay.
I haven't talked to Hunter for a week or two, but we do have that tournament coming up this weekend, so looking
Okay.
forward to that.
Oh, a couple more things.
Just heard that the Trails Committee did not meet, so they shouldn't have a report, I assume. So that gets us to an update on the right-of-way at Friends Park.
No, nothing new. I'll be working with John. Yeah, I did get a note from the gentleman that requested it, and we'll move on that. And probably July, you'll have something in your board packet about it.
Okay.
I've got one more thing. I was contacted by Kevin Sell, who's a representative of Mary Louise Brias, who,
I was gonna bring that up in the Supes report.
okay, you
Yeah.
bring,
Okay.
never mind.
Superintendent's report.
Yeah. The board is probably not aware, we own, or will be owning, 17 acres that's up on Chehalem Mountain. Brillis donated it, his wife.
I'm probably the only one that was here then.
Yeah. But probably in the next month, that'll be turned over, the home, the property, the whole thing. And we'll be working on that. The view up there is just unbelievable. It's fantastic view.
Yeah, we should take the rest of the, well, Jim's obviously been there.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that.
but
when
Lisa,
we
Bart,
get-
and Gail
Yeah.
wouldn't have ever seen it.
Yeah,
That was
It's a
long time ago.
beautiful piece of property,
Is
but
there December 30th, 1999.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It was a living trust type situation that, similar to what Jan Sanders, the Shad property, several pieces of property that we have gotten over the years. It really helps the pocketbook because we don't have to buy. So, but,
And I'm trying to remember, is the home there, is it conducive to like having, you know, meetings or retreats? I mean, it's been so long since I've been there, I get Lou's property and Mars property confused in my head.
yeah,
So-
it was, as you know, Mrs. Brillis has not been able to do a lot. She's getting up and she's going into a care home now. That's the reason the property and stuff. She had a living as long as she was living there. And so that will now be turned over to us. And of course, the first thing we do is make sure the property is all insured and done that. But we'll take you up there. It's should be a nice piece. Once we'll have to get in there and clean it up a little bit, but we'll get that done.
Don, what's her first name?
Mary.
Carol?
Mary,
Thank you.
Mary Brillis. Lou Brillis was her husband, and Lou and Mary set it up. They had no children, similar to Jan, and wanted to do something for the community. And Lou and I worked on senior transportation. Most people don't know we started the county transportation system for seniors and that, and eventually it went to YCAP in the county, but that goes back years ago. But Lou was instrumental in all that.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, it was. Wheelchair bound, had no, he lost his legs. He was a veteran. So, but
Okay. Anything else?
I think that would be it.
Okay. Staff reports. We'll start with the people that we can't see. Kellen, you're still there, it looks like.
Hello, hello. I'm
What do you got-
around.
What do you got to say for yourself?
Well, number one, summer's finally here, so that's nice. We are packed out at the golf course now, as Casey knows, trying to get things done out of the golf course. There's people everywhere finally. Tournament season's kicking off, so we now have 16 full shotgun tournaments this year, which is up. I guess COVID has kind of changed the numbers a little bit, but this is the biggest number that we've had in a long time. And we have 11 groups between, say, 32 and 80 golfers as well. So a lot more tournament action there. It looks good. We just finished our first junior camp of the summer. We had 27 campers for 3 days. It was a wonderful experience for all of them. We had a lot of fun. We've also got our junior league going. We're halfway through that season. We've got 35 in that program. So really excited about the junior stuff. 2 more junior camps to come, one in mid-July, one in mid-August. Besides that, staffing, we're almost full. I might hire 1 or 2 more people to get through the summer months, and then we lose so many college kids, say early to mid-August, I guess. So we kind of have to plan for that, hire a few just to get through the later parts of summer. Yeah, besides that, golf is just, I've never seen so many young kids golfing, so many high school kids, so many college kids. So it's really cool to see. It's good for the golf industry overall. And we just want to do what we can to support that. So, yeah,
Better get the third 9 built so we have room for them.
exactly. And the clubhouse to go with it.
Yep. Second. Okay. Is that it, Kellen? Questions for Kellen? Nope, I have no questions for Kellen. I want to note for the record, after being severely criticized for her lack of changing the candy in her office, Heidi took immediate action and corrected that, so that needs to be noted in the record. Do you have anything else to say for yourself?
No, other than the candy is welcome for all, and there's a new cat in the background.
Oh, there it is, on cue.
And one more who wants to be seen.
That's so creepy.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking care of the candy.
Anytime.
I've dipped into several times already.
You know, Julie has one in her office, and I have one in my office. No one comes over there for our candy.
You're a big guy, I'm not fighting you over candy.
I actually have big candy. I mean, we're talking big bars.
Okay, who's here? Julie.
Okay, let's see. The aquatic center is very busy. Swim lessons are very, very full at this time. We set up the back patio for outside events and rentals. So we're looking forward to that now that we have some nice weather. That'll be great. This week, Wendy is running what they call Grunt Week. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's not anything we want to know about, actually. But really working hard to train all those lifeguards. Are your kids involved in that?
2 of my kids are. I haven't seen them all week.
Really?
They've been working way more hours than normal.
Yeah, I know I approved some Barbie dolls on Amazon that had something to do with Grunt Week and saving, I don't know what that was about, but those kids are working very, very hard, so thank you.
They had a blow up unicorn in the pool.
I know, it's a Grunt Week thing, I guess. This is the 3rd month in a row that the Aquatic Center has surpassed their projected revenue, and it looks like it's going to be up for this fiscal year. They're going to pass the projected revenue for that, so we're really excited about that as well. Our senior center programming is going very well. We have, I don't know if you saw but or you noticed, but we have all these activities going on at the senior center now. People have really come back in droves, and that's really, really exciting for the seniors in town. We have pool cues, China painters, pinochle, crafty ladies and gents, the Sawdust Club, scrapbooking, foot clinic, dominoes, a choir called the Elderberry Jam, and Tai Chi. So it's hopping down there.
Sarah must be doing a good job.
Sarah's doing a great job. We have a new programmer out there, and they also push 80 meals out of there a day. So that is a very, very busy place. Gymnastics are going well in our recreation department. This is interesting. We've partnered with the Newark School District, and I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, but they received a grant from the Oregon Department of Education for summer enrichment activities. And of course, the school district doesn't offer any summer enrichment activities, so they've partnered with us. And so we created a discount code for families in our community to use to sign up for our activities. And we have 90 camps and offerings for people in our community to sign up for. And the first, we went through, the school district offered us $30,000 to use. Each family got to pick 4 activities for their kids, and we went through it in 4 hours, which was incredible. So the next day, we called them and said, hey, thank you very much. This is an incredible opportunity for all the people in Newburgh and Dundee. And so they said, well, you know what, we have some more that we want to give to you as well. So they offered up another $20,000, and we went through that in 6 hours. So needless to say, our camps and all of our activities are very, very full. We went through it all. So that's been really fun. We had Pee Wee camp this week, and we had basketball camp, and the weather worked out really, really great. Those gyms were pretty hot, but it's full. It's like Kellen, mentioned with his, the youth that are participating down at the golf course. We are absolutely seeing a robust engagement from people in the community. So that's, while COVID was hard, it's really brought out a lot of people. So that's cool. Let's see, what else? Our care program, we started our summer care program. We have about 115 families in that, and that's pretty good. In our pre-K and preschool, we have about 28 families, and that's more than we've ever had before too. So that's exciting. Men's softball is underway. Do not go out to Crater. They're pretty crazy out there. They play Monday and Wednesday nights. And we have 9 teams involved in that. We had 42 soccer teams that just completed their spring season, and that's really cool. 520 kids. We had 90 track participants. Again, our camps are all full this year. And I already mentioned the discount code. I think that's it. I think that's it.
Chris and DJ Wright had a picture they put on Facebook out there at the softball complex again.
What's that?
Chris and DJ Wright took a picture of themselves out at the
Didn't you? I
softball
saw that too. Isn't that neat?
complex again, yeah. Do you know, are there grape snow cones this year? Like, there was a lot of controversy for several years they didn't have grape. They objected. So,
I know I caught somebody vaping out there last week. That's not good. So, yeah, they have some interesting names for some of those teams. These guys are pretty competitive. Actually, one of our golf course employees hit a ball so hard it landed on the Crater roof the other day. And also, we have our assistant golf pro that works with Kellen. Brett Vernon was hired as the head basketball coach at the high school. That's exciting. So we're looking forward to working with him with camps and our youth basketball program in the winter. That's a great get for Newburgh and longtime family in Newburgh. So we're happy to have that relationship with him too.
okay.
I think that's it.
Casey, we've heard a lot from you already. I have a question for you though. Do you know if is the splash pad open at Rotary Park?
Yes,
Yes. Okay, my daughter-in-law wants to take my grandson up there.
we opened it at 2 o'clock today, or 1 or 2, somewhere.
So it'll be open tomorrow and Saturday?
Yes.
My kids and I watched
Perfect.
it open.
Every day.
Oh, really?
It's
Every
all
day
the
over.
computer, like he does
what,
it, like there's
70?
no,
Really?
like
Isn't
I
that
would
crazy?
think like I would thought there's like panels and turning knobs. No, he sits there with his little computer.
It's incredible.
COVID cat. You have anything to tell us?
Not too much, my brain's still pretty fuzzy, but yeah, Lisa mentioned our first vaudeville event. It was a success. It sold out both nights, and that was a partnership between CPRD and City of Newburgh's Chamber of Commerce and Chehalem Cultural Center. And the record reflects that CPRD was singing and dancing with the Newburgh City Manager and Chamber Director. I also wanted to make you aware of a partnership effort that CPRD is doing with the City of Newburgh's Newburgh Public Library. It's called Newburgh Passport to the Parks, a summer-themed reading project. As the participants read hiking and camping and trails-related books, they're directed to go to several CPRD parks, a dozen in all, and there are little containers with stamps that are hidden in the parks. And so they can stamp their passport to prove that they read their book and they visited the park. And at the end at August 13th, they'll have their little passports to turn back into the library. So that's just a win-win all the way around and makes for a fun summer in Newburgh. And that's all I'm gonna say tonight.
Okay, Richard?
Well, I'm back from Montana. That was a fun trip.
Yes, we see that.
We had COVID, but other than that, I'm now back running the aquatic center early morning, starting it up and getting things ready for that. In August, we will be shutting down the comp pool for 2 weeks, and we will be doing our yearly, but it's actually a 4-year maintenance. So that'll take 2 weeks. We'll go through the whole thing, clean it, the whole shebang. And then in the first week of September, we will be shutting down the leisure pool and hot tub and be doing the same thing with that. We still got air in the strainer basket for the comp pool. We believe that that's an issue with a valve with some debris that's potentially in there. So while we're shut down for the comp pool, we're going to have Anderson come out and figure out what that issue is. But other than that, we're getting stuff fixed up. The rock wall was shut down because the panels were broken. We replaced them. We have one side up and we're working on the other side, hopefully within the next week.
Okay. That's it. Citizen comments, evaluations, complaints, etc. Gail, do you have any comments on the citizen comments?
I have no comments on the citizen comments.
Neither do I. Does anyone have any miscellaneous information they would like to bless the board with?
Don't forget your meeting in July, July
Yeah.
28th.
Which will be the first day of Old Fashioned Fest.
And also in your board packet, GASP, which is actuariums and stuff. The auditors are requiring a lot more requirements anymore. GASP is, we have to enter into an agreement with other agencies to come in and audit and to do those type things. It's just part of doing business, but it seems like every year they come up with something new and it's more money. Used to, the audit would be 20-something thousand. Now the audit with all the audit hasn't gone up that much. It's around 27, 30. But with all the other GASP things, 10,000 here, 15,000, 5,000 here, we're getting up there. It's just part of doing business, but I put some of those agreements in your packet just to let you know what's going on. It's required by law, so we have no choice.
Yep.
One other thing, we are doing a tour of the second phase of our bypass trail next Wednesday at 9 a.m., which you're welcome to attend. We'll be meeting here. This will be with Paula Grimace and the crew toward our preparations for grant application. The new cycle for community paths grant program is about to come open in July, so we're getting our ducks in order. So you are welcome to attend that if you would like to.
What's interesting, it'll be about 5 million, 5 or 6 million.
5.9, it's probably 6, yeah.
And we spend, the match has gone down, so
It's 10%, I think,
Yeah.
somewhere around 10%.
so we'll get more than the last one, which was 2.8 or something.
0.6.
Yeah, 2.8, so, but we'll spend less locally, so that's good news.
To build a clubhouse in the third nine with all that money.
You're right, no?
Yeah, and we'd make money off of that, instead of having a trail that people walk. Anyway, yes.
But it's the number one thing that the community wants.
Not my community.
But I will agree with that, but overall,
All right, I'm gonna get in trouble. So, sensing no one else has anything they wish to say, you sure you wanna say something sometime?
Well, when did you give up basketball, Don? I'm really curious to when you declared yourself over the hill.
I played regular City League basketball. Well, so I played City League basketball ever since I moved to Newburgh, which was '84. There was a slight period of time where, when I was about 40, we had a 30 and over league, and so I played my team played in that for like 5 years, but there was only 4 teams. So there's only 3 other teams to play. And then one of those 4 teams just decided, you know, we're just all too old, we're done. And so one of the other teams, you can't have a league of 3 teams. One of the other teams just quit also. One of the teams moved to a league, and I think it was Tualatin. Our team was left, and it's like we had no option but to go back into the regular city league team, or city league. So then we did that. So my birthday's in April, so I played the year that I was 59.
Well, that's very good.
And you know,
He's
it's
indirectly responsible for 2 concussions for my husband.
I was just sitting watching. He's the one who's stupid enough to jump in front of somebody bigger than him. And somehow I still let him, you know, work in my mouth.
Wow. There was a recovery.
I didn't think the answer would take this long. That's
So I played the year I was 59 in March, and I just thought, you know, trying to play when I'm in my 60s. I mean, I'd gotten from the point where instead of chasing people that were half my age, some of the people I was chasing were a third my age, and it just wasn't working out. And the last year that I played, you know, something was wrong with my foot, and it hurt, and I was limping around half the year, and I finally, you know, went to the doctor when the season was over and said, yeah, my foot hurts. They did some tests and some MRI, and he goes, you do realize you partially tore your Achilles tendon, right? I said, didn't it hurt? I said, I'm 59 chasing 18-year-olds. Everything hurts. You know, but yeah, so it took 11 full, I mean, I had some ultrasonic treatments, I had laser treatments, it took 11 full months for that thing to heal. And so, well, there's a part of me in my heart that would still love to go play basketball, but my head is like, remember how much your foot hurt and how long it took to get done?
It lasted a lot longer than many of us did.
Yeah, so anyway, so that's the long answer. My basketball pretty much now is down to Don and I going to Blazer games.
It wasn't a long answer, it was a very lengthy answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We are